Welcome back to the Fish Tank right here on the Miami Dolphins Podcast Network. Seth Levitt, DJ Preach in the back, and my main man, Juice. We're back in the Wingfield living room.
Yes, we are, Big Seth. You know how much we love it right here, man.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, and we always love getting great guests, man. So this is no different than any other time, bro. So it's going to be exciting.
It's no different, but we had a run of offensive guys.
Yeah, I know.
So I was waiting to see how you were going to react here, if you got a little nervous or.
Well, it depends. Now, if it was a DB, I wouldn't be nervous, but I'm nervous now because it's a linebacker. So, You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a little different. So I'm cool with it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, back in your days, they could touch you a little bit more, too.
Put them hands on you, man, for sure. That's for sure.
Too much fun. Akin Ayodele, welcome to the Fish Tank.
Man, I feel special.
Yeah.
I feel well.
You are special.
First, I was upset. You know, you guys have had this run of offensive guys, and all the people of all the people. Fasano.
I know. I told you.
I said, you guys got Fasano on the show before me?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But, hey, you know what? We're boys. We're friends. I got a forgiving heart. So
I appreciate it. I want to start with, we just announced your name. I want to start with the name. My guess is that it's been mispronounced once or twice in your life.
Several times.
Yeah.
So, actually, my first name is Akin Ayodele. The origin of that, it's Yoruba, it's Nigerian. What it means is a warrior who's been through many battles and never defeated.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
wear that with some pride.
That is definitely something to live up to. Once I knew what my name was, it's been my calling. It's just, going through challenges, going through life, and always making sure that that's cemented in my mind and my heart, and trying to live up to the different challenges and the warrior mentality.
Yeah.
And then the last name, I got to actually go to Nigeria 2014 and meet family there on that side of the family, and they said, no.
I love it.
You say it wrong. No. Ayodele, but it's with conviction.
Right.
Ayodele, and
right.
so.
Well, how do you say it?
Well, I've always said Ayodele. Ayodele. And when you go over there and I introduce myself, huh? Ayodele.
Oh, wow.
I got so used to it being butchered in high school.
Yeah.
And whenever I played an opponent team, they would purposely
I'm sure.
butcher the name.
Yeah.
So after that, I just said, you know what, it doesn't bother me.
You know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. I know who I am.
I love it.
So speaking of, knowing who you are, man, Texas kid, born and raised in Texas, and you came from humble beginnings, kind of like myself, single parent, growing up. I'm an only child though.
Ooh.
You're one of four.
I'm one of four.
Yeah, you said you're the oldest right there.
Yeah.
On top of that, you were always also managing a learning disability.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your upbringing for one, and then that challenge that you had to go through.
Yeah, so single parent, oldest of four, never met my father. Lucky for me, I get all my good looks from my mom. So, I got that covered, right? On the other side, though, there's always a part of you that, you're always searching for and trying to figure out what that is. And, early on, probably 8, 9 years old, that I knew that I had to do something different. Growing up how we grew up, from the time I was probably 9 till I graduated high school, I probably lived in more than 40 different apartment complexes.
How many?
40. More than 40.
40.
We moved around a lot. I would come home from school and we would see our stuff in bags or outside because you either got evicted or we just had to move, right? You had to make that transition. And so early on, you just knew that, okay, you just have to build this toughness about you and ready to transition in a way. And part of that was also in academics at school. So early on, I was diagnosed with ADD and dyslexia. I would purposely get in trouble whenever I was in reading class and I had to read out loud. Finally got to high school, and all my boys, and growing up in Texas, football is king. But I was a little smaller than the rest, and family and mom was like, nah, you're not gonna play. I get to high school, I said, I gotta do something. And I read this Sports Illustrated article going into my freshman year, and it talked about high school seniors getting scholarships to play Division I football. You got your tuition paid for, you got your housing paid for, most importantly, you got free food.
That's right.
That was the free food part. That was the part that excited me.
Run that back. Wait a second.
And at the end, then you get education, right? You get a degree. But all in all, I said, okay, this was my ticket. But then I had to deal with myself. I had to deal with my dyslexia. And so for a good 4 years, every day after high school, I would read out loud, and I would just force myself in front of the mirror. And because of that, and not that it goes away, but I learned to control it. I learned to slow my brain down. I wanted to go to college. I knew that that was my ticket to get us out of our destitute, right? To get us out of our situation. And I was lucky enough that originally, I was supposed to go to the University of Texas. My senior year, spring semester, got in a car wreck because I was going on spring break, lost one of my best friends. I was in and out of school. Then I became ineligible to play Division I football. Went to junior college, Coffeyville, Kansas, right? Our practice field was literally a farm. We had cows, pigs, all on the side. Our locker room was just a barn that they just put shelves in.
Unbelievable.
But one of the best experiences that I ever had, because it helped me, turned me into a man. Went through the second wave of recruiting. Could have went anywhere. Actually, Jeremy Sharkey and I were on the recruiting visit to UM. But for some reason, again, in my head, I said academics, and I chose Purdue over, could have gone anywhere in the country.
You mentioned the car accident.
Uh-huh.
And that really changed your life in immeasurable ways, right? The trajectory of football, as you just indicated, but also the fact that you breezed through it, but you lost your best friend.
Yeah.
If you're willing to talk about kind of what you went through, the impact of all that, and I know you honored him years later when you were in a position to do so, and created a scholarship.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. So we were two peas in a pod. Our home dynamic was the same. He had a single parent, didn't know his dad. He also had siblings, and I spent just as much time at his house as he spent at my house. Got in a wreck. We flipped. He got thrown out. Actually, we lost two people, two classmates that day. The school bused everybody to his funeral, and that's how connected and the tightness in the relationship in the town. It's one of those points in life and junctures because I could have easily just said, forget it. This isn't for me.
Right, we were supposed to do this together.
We were supposed to do this together. Right. And I said no, picked myself up. And so fast forward years later, made it to the league, and I said I have to give back. I have to reach back. And so up until the pandemic, we were, for 15 years running, had a scholarship every year in his name. Some years there were one student we gave a scholarship to. Some other years it was 3 or 4. And so we are in conversation right now with the district to launch back the program and the scholarship and start it over again.
That'd be great.
Let's rewind a little bit back before you got to the pros and talk about your decision to go to Purdue. Where you had a hell of a career there as well, man. All Big Ten honors as a senior. You get to Jacksonville and you continue the ball. That's where you did all the 100 tackles in Jacksonville. Talk about a little bit about, then playing for Jacksonville, playing your butt off, but then free agency hits and you get to go home to the Cowboys.
I've always said that, I absolutely have no complaints in life because I got to do not that I planned it out perfectly, but the goal was set and everything just kind of fell in place. And so going to Purdue, I got lucky to play with Drew Brees, right? Drew was offensive captain, I was a defensive captain. The year Drew left, team MVP, Rose Bowl, Big Ten championship, all these great feats and accolades. And then it's like, I can maybe go to the league?
Right.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
And that comes, and then get drafted in the 3rd round. Played well, had success there. So we go to Dallas. I sit with Bill, one of the best salesmen you can ever meet. Incredible, right? He tells me this, Akin, you're the missing piece to this defense.
Sure.
Right? We connected on such another level that I'd never with another coach. And I got to know the man. One of my favorite reasons we're having this conversation is because of that man, Bill Parcells. Because when he came to Miami, he traded for me to come be a Dolphin.
So 2008 was the year, and 2008 ends up being this remarkable season after we had the worst season in the history of the franchise. Talk about what that experience was like, particularly in year one, but just your journey here in Miami, the defense that you played on, and how much fun that it was when you met Channing Crowder, Matt Roth was
Yeah.
on that team, right?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Joey Porter.
Yeah.
And the next year,
Yeah,
JT comes back to Miami.
yeah.
So just talk about your Dolphin experience.
Yeah, so some of the most athletic, unbelievable professionals that you will ever meet. And we had such an amazing time in that year and those seasons after that, really trying to build and change the culture. We did everything together. And that's what made that success for that season and all the challenges that came after that.
You know, so funny you say that about you and Channing, because I know recently you were at a charity event with Channing, and knowing Channing, you still invited Channing up on the stage with you.
Yeah.
And you know how Channing can be.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking bringing Channing up on the stage with you?
Man, you know, every now and then you need to throw a curveball, you know, and he brings that level on unpredictability to any situation. But deep down, I mean, he's the greatest guy.
1,000.
He's one of the greatest guys you could ever meet, because he's one of those guys, he'll tell it to you straight.
Yes, he will.
He don't care who you are. You could be the President of the United States. You could be the janitor. He's going to treat you the same way. And once I knew that about him, I said, this is my kind of guy.
Yeah. One thing, as we all can tell, that everybody was really consistent was about your fashion. In fact, the word of the street was you wore affliction T-shirts and a chain on your wallet, probably longer than anybody's allowed to wear in the league ever. You know, what's going on with that?
You missed
What else?
the Texas buckle.
Okay, so he's not denying
I used
it.
to have this eagle buckle that I would wear, and I had, at least a dozen of them. It was another way just for me to have my own little unique style. And
yeah.
I just wasn't ever shy to really stand out, that way.
I don't know, Juice, that I have a busier follow on LinkedIn. You know, like Akin, I'm going to learn something. He's going to post something. I'm going to know everywhere that you've been. And it's amazing how active you are. But talk about what your post-football life has become. I know you went, which is also really cool. You went and got your master's at, is it George Washington?
George Washington University.
George Washington University, went and got your master's. So talk about what you continue to do now, but then also the foundation that you started with the Dreambuilders Foundation.
Yeah, thank you for that. You knew the end was near, and I either could wait and let them tell me when my time was done, and my ego, that's gonna happen. So I really didn't give myself time to just wallow or sit down. I automatically enrolled in grad school, and in between sessions, I would go to New York, and I did an internship for a wealth management company. And as soon as I graduated from George Washington, D.C., I moved to the city. For 8 years, I was in finance. I focus on the private equity side of the business. Naturally, just like all of us, the pandemic happens and allows you to recess and assess life. And so I did that. And I was newly engaged, about to get married. I knew I wanted to start a family. And this is bringing everything back in a full circle. You know, grew up with a single parent, raised 4 kids. And one thing I said to myself, I will not repeat that cycle. I always wanted to be a present father, a present husband, and a present man. And so I said, I will do that. I'm a husband, I'm a father of 2 girls. It means everything to me. This is the greatest thing I've ever done. I've had life journeys, I've done some great things in life, but the greatest thing I've ever done is my family. And I said, I will be a present father and a present husband. And so I got out of the industry, and I got this call from the most random, when I said as a guy, I got this call from the most random person. Said, your name came through the channel. I think you'd be great in the insurance business. And I got into the insurance business on the employee benefit side. From a people capital perspective, I love that piece. I did that for the last several years, which required me to move back full time to Miami. A couple years later, I'm asked to actually lead the market for Gallagher, which is in the top 3 insurance brokerage company in the world. I serve in a seat now as the area president for Gallagher for South Florida. A guy who, football, dyslexic, barely made it to college, and played in the National Football League, all of a sudden is leading an entire market in an industry that I'm still a novice to, but I have the passion to learn and to really help people. When you find your calling, there's nothing that can stop you.
Right. Tell them what that name means again. What's the?
A warrior who's been through many battles and never defeated.
There you go.
Well, you know what? We're going to defeat you today, man.
No, we're trying to win with
We're going to defeat you today.
Uh-oh.
We got a 2-minute drill, right? We
Okay,
got a little segment we called
Defensive guys get a little
I got
more
to get a
nervous.
defensive guy a little crap. You know, offense trying to score all the time. So we got this segment now called the 2-minute drill, right? We're going to fire off a few questions, you know, and whatever comes to mind, you know, you answer them. But I'm thinking as a defensive guy, you probably want the clock to run as fast as possible.
Just trying to get off the field,
Get
aren't
off the
you?
field, right? Get a stop and get off the
scared.
field.
Okay, that's what I like to hear. He's never been
All
defeated.
right, well,
It's
DJ
right
Priest is
there in
going to
his
put
name.
2 minutes on the clock.
All right, Priest has got
And
2
we're
minutes.
going to ride out. Big Seth,
Am
we'll
I,
get
am I
started.
kicking it off? All right, we're ready? Here we go. We talked about how you played for the Dallas Cowboys. You played for them. But is it true that you actually had a job with the team at a much younger age, long before you ever suited up?
Yes, it is true. High school, I volunteered some time, and in the stadium, the original Cowboy Stadium, and then also during that time, I got to be a ball boy. So,
Ball boy. That's
Yeah.
what's up, right? Okay. You wore number 13 at Purdue, is that correct?
yes, I did.
Who wore it better, you or Dan Marino?
Ooh. Well, that's a good one.
Careful
Ooh,
now.
ooh.
Remember where you're at.
I will say, I mean, it's the great. It's the great. He's a Hall of Famer. There's nothing else like seeing him playing and, you know, just watching him growing up. So I have to say Dan Marino.
All right, that was a safe
That's
answer.
good, that's good, that's good.
Here,
I mean,
for sure.
yeah.
I think his office is like.
Even if you don't read, that's good, that's good.
All right, speaking of Purdue, you left the school tied for second on the Boilermakers all-time sack charts. Roosevelt Colvin was first. Do you know which former Miami Dolphin you're tied with 29 sacks?
Oh, with 29.
Scanita, Jeff Scanita. Okay.
Jeff Scanita,
That
yeah.
Z, that Z
right.
combo
But what
growing up.
most people don't know, I did mine in 3 years, and I did mine playing 2 positions.
Oh,
I played
okay.
linebacker and defensive
started
end.
as a defensive end.
Asterisk by
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's got it. I
He was like a
that. I
big
got it.
tackle, though.
And I
wasn't
played some tight end.
he? Okay.
I did
well,
it
you
all.
didn't get any sacks.
Yeah, but I didn't get any sacks or any years. But
right,
I
clock is
played
running.
multiple
All right.
positions.
Clock is running.
All right, you're an avid golfer now, and, you know, we talked a little bit about your former boss, Bill Parcells. He played plenty of golf
Yes,
during
he does a lot of
his
golf.
Fans tenure. Have you ever hit the links with him?
No, we've had scheduled times to play, and something came up, and my fault, had to move it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Canceled on the tuna.
Yeah, canceled
My
on the
kind of
tuna.
guy. I knew I liked Akin. All right, last question. We had some fun with your fashion choices here. Clearly, things have evolved, as you
Yes.
said. Now it's your turn. Who was the worst dressed Miami Dolphins player during your tenure here?
Easy, Channing Crowder.
There it is. That's the 2 minutes. Oh man.
And he knows it. He doesn't care. He wore gym shorts everywhere. Gym shorts and flip flops. He wore that everywhere.
All right. Well, you've been a great sport,
so
man.
good.
I appreciate. I know you went from like one meeting to the next. You had the event last night. You said you got another one tonight and something else tomorrow. Man, congratulations on the entire journey. I know you got a little emotional here, and I appreciate you.
Love
You
it.
know, just
Love it, man.
showing that
Love it.
vulnerability.
Yes,
but
sir.
I feel like I know all these guys. We've been very lucky to have these relationships and bring guys into the fish tank. And I feel like I know guys, but I don't realize how much I don't know
Yeah, you learn a
guys
lot
until
more.
I start
Yeah.
the research.
Yeah.
And your story's incredible, man. I appreciate you sharing it with
Oh
us.
no, thank you, and thank you for this platform. I think this is what is needed to have platforms where men can come together, like alpha males, and really tell their story and really get engaged with others and share that commonality where it's rare that you
Yeah.
get to see and know the background, how they became who they are. So this is huge. You guys are doing a great job, and actually really doing a community service.
Yeah, man. Hey, thank you. Thanks for diving in, Akin, man.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this episode on the Miami Dolphins YouTube channel.
And if you want to catch the full audio podcast, you can dive in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you do your podcast streaming.